Good morning, TFR.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, happy Tuesday, everybody. Apparently, I lost a couple of buttons on my soundboard, but welcome to the Ironworx right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com, being simulcast across the plane on our original YouTube channel, the Iron Realm Media YouTube channel, back from a bit of a hiatus. Let's talk about that with the other guys. Jump right in. Say hello to Mr. Walter Johnson. You may know him as Flat Earth Head. Walt, how was your weekend, my good sir?
It was a great weekend. Hello, Josh. Hello, everyone. We are here. Tuesday, my dudes. Busy weekend, Mother's Day, lots of family time. Good weekend. Really good weekend. I don't know what's really, I know we're doing, get here. We're now on our new channel. I mean, on our old channel. We're back home is what I'm trying to say, but I see a big OBS symbol in the middle of the screen. I don't know what that means to you, sir. But yeah, the gremlins are at it again.
Refresh your screen. Yeah, everything was weird this morning. Not in a mysterious way.
Okay, well, as long as it's not mysterious.
No. It's just my fault.
All right. Well, as long as we can blame you, I'm good.
Yep, it's all on me.
All right, cool.
Let's say hello to Mr. Zachary Zabala. You may know him as Good Times for All. They're on YouTube. Zach, how about you, sir? How was your weekend?
I guess, well, I woke up Sunday,
Get out of bed.
and, it was supposed to be plan day. And I just had this weird feeling. Like, as soon as I got up, that's the first thing that hit my brain. As soon as I woke up was, it's time to plant. And I just kept getting this feeling like my garden was saying, nope, it's not time yet. And I was like, well, I'm not listening to you. I'm going to do it anyway. So I waited for Cammie to get up and got in the car, and I went to go punch in the place in the GPS, and it says closed. I was like, okay, I guess you were right. I am not planting today. I have never
Sky
heard
clock,
of a
remember?
place.
Sky clock, not man clock.
Yeah, I know. But I've never heard of a place that sells plants closed on Mother's Day. That just never happened up in Indiana. Like, ever. That's when all those places were, open and had all their stuff out by Mother's Day. Because everybody comes on Mother's Day, takes their mom out and goes and gets, flowers and this and that and plants and whatnot. I did it with my mom for years. So yeah, the plant didn't happen, but I did get to hang out with the ladies next door. One of them is in her 70s, the other one is in her 90s, and I took them out shopping, and we went and had lunch, and so I got to hang out with the mother.
Well, that's good. Get your fix.
Yeah, it's weird not being around my mom for Mother's Day. This is only the second one ever. So it's, not really the greatest at times for me,
Mm-hmm.
I missed my mom. But she had a great day. So that's good. That's important. But yeah, not a bad weekend.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. Let's say hello to Mr. Lucas King, LC King, here on YouTube. Lucas, how was your weekend?
How you doing?
Not too bad.
Good. Yeah, weekend was good. Just went and had a bit of a chill out, went for a bit of a hike with the family. Ended up walking about 5Ks, which was a fair bit for little kids. But Yeah, other than that, we went to this sort of down in this creek bed, and there's these big boulders, and so we're sort of hanging out there and climbing these boulders, and the kids loved it. So that was a pretty good day. But other than that, my head's been in the clouds, and I've been trying to work out star times and just how this system works. So we'll get into that a bit later. We've got a special guest.
We do have
Well, you sound like you're feeling better. Just want to throw that in there real quick.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'm fine.
Sweet. Yep. Good to hear, man. Good to hear.
Thank you.
Yes, let's say hello to our very special guest, someone we've not spoken with in quite some time. I do believe it's at least a year. Probably pretty dang close to it. Let's say a little bit. Author Douglas Falk, author of The Voyage, good friend of ours. Welcome back to the Ironworx, Douglas.
Thank you, Josh. Good morning, my friends. And yeah, it is. I think it's almost a year to the day because, yeah, I remember the last time I was on clearly because that's the same day I got the news about my mother. So it's not a day I will forget anytime soon. So
no, I bet not. So I know things have been pretty eventful for you over the past year.
Yeah, I've been following in the same footsteps as Walter did last year. Hey, Walter, was it a year ago it happened for you?
May 22nd.
Oh, wow.
May 22nd. Yes, sir. She passed. So it all is kind of an interesting little cycle, isn't it?
It is. It's an experience for sure.
Yeah, I've sorry for interrupting, but when talking with Walt after all that happened, it's really hard to say anything when, I haven't been through that. But
yeah, I know.
Talking with you guys and, just thinking about you guys a lot, it makes you appreciate what you have a lot more. It makes you want to, just be there. And I call my mom, all the time. I always have, but now I appreciate it a lot more. So I want to thank you guys for that.
Yeah, I think Walt and I are coping fairly well. I mean, it's hard to describe, but at some level, you are hardwired to accept the death of a parent in some weird way. I mean, it's in our DNA to eventually, gradually accept that this is the way it's going to be.
Well, yeah, and I think that's how our parents would want it as well. Everybody that I've, heard talk about these things, you're expected to outlive your parents. Now, losing a child is different. That's one of those things that they say some people never get over. But yeah, I think you're right. We're kind of expected to outlive our parents. That's just how things work. So yeah.
Yeah, I wonder how that would feel to lose a child of yours. That would be. It's probably even more. Well, it has to be even more dehumanizing and soul destroying.
Well, that's that out of the natural order of things. So it's got to be very off-putting. I mean, obviously, but in such a way that it's literally sort of against nature.
And it certainly is one of those things that puts, as Douglas said, it puts everything kind of into perspective. And it makes you want to make other people understand that. And it's difficult. As Zach said, if you haven't been through it, you really have no point of reference. You do. You've seen it in movies. You've experienced it with other relatives. But it's different. And it is... It's kind of one of those things that is coming, and you can build yourself up for it. You can get ready for it. You can prepare for it in all the mental, emotional ways you can try to do. But it really comes down to, your conduit to this place is now gone. It's how you got here, and now it's left. And that's really a strange thing when you put it that way. Now, that being said, also, for some reason, I guess being the time of the year, being the synchronicities, the cycles that we were talking about there, Douglas, I've watched this show that's on right now, and in it, someone was talking at a funeral, and she was saying that the person who had passed, which was her mother, used to say that her thoughts about heaven, wherever you think that might be, is that that place is not anything like this. That here we deal with time, and we discuss time and cause and effect and all that on the show. So we know that idea is something, conceivable. But the idea that wherever we came from to come here being a timeless place where there is no time. So that means we're there now. Even with our past people that have gone on back there, we're there with them. Even as we're sitting here doing this show, we're already there. So I don't know, wrap your head around that one for a little while. Did I break y'all? I broke everybody. I'm sorry.
Yeah, my mind was blown. I have nothing more to say.
Good night, everybody.
So how have you been coming along with your writing, Douglas? Has it been I bet it's been hard with all this, just everything over the last year, to try and stay focused on anything.
Yeah, I've gotten back to it a bit this year. It was like last year, I hardly wrote anything because for some reason it was much worse for me last year. The shock impact was way worse. And well, it was somehow easier this year because, well, a lot of time has passed. So, and for me, there's no better way to heal than to write. So that's what I do.
It's interesting you say it that way too, because you're being in the midst of it kind of took place towards the end of the height of the mass idiocy. Mine started right at the beginning. So, this was already a hard enough trial for us, for our families, emotionally. But then put on top of that, the energy that's being created by this fucked up shit they're doing to everybody, that energy's coming at us. The energy of our other people in our lives dealing with this and how that screwed up all emotional ties, all connections. I was in the house with my family, my brother and sister and their family, and we were still fighting with each other in the midst of my mother passing because of all this masking fucking bullshit. So the fact that this all took place for you and me and other people too during this time period amplified everything just a millionfold, because it wasn't just dealing with it normally, it was dealing with it with a fucking insane asylum going on around you. So yeah.
So did you have a normal funeral, or was it very...
She did not want one. She didn't want one. First of all, my grandfather, her dad, was a preacher, so she spent way too much time growing up at funerals. So she didn't want that. She always said she didn't want a funeral. She wanted to be cremated and have her ashes spread, which we haven't done yet because we are still emotionally trying to get there. But we kind of put a year of getting over it and letting the world kind of get back to normalcy, if it is ever such a thing. And then plan on like going back where she was born and going back where she grew up and things like that. So, yeah. But yeah, we didn't have to, when you were showing me the images you had there, I was like, yeah, that would have been something that would have been nice to experience, but she didn't want it. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, you respected her wishes, so that's great. No, I'm very appreciative that we don't have a mask mandate here in Sweden, because the funeral was as normal as it possibly could be. The only thing that wasn't normal is that the church was half empty due to the restrictions. But other than that, it was a perfect send-off. And it was so beautiful that she was buried in the same church that she was baptized in. Almost, amazing. And the strange thing, it was almost to the day exactly 60 years in between those. So that's just crazy. How and I've read, maybe this is an urban myth or something, but I've heard that most people die close to their birthday. I don't know if that's true, but certainly true here.
That's interesting. I've never even had that cross my mind.
Yeah, it's probably just an urban myth, but yeah.
I think it is, because it's one of those things that tends to pop out and stick out to me when I hear it. The fact that they died so close to the day they were born, because there is something very telling, seems like.
That being said, Mom was born June 6th, past May 22nd.
Oh.
Well, it should be pretty easy to find out because most headstones offer both dates. So makes it real easy to look and compare.
Now, when are you actually born, though? That's one of those questions, you know.
Or are you
Is it-
talking the time of conception, like Mr. Crow does?
Is it when the green light goes off, when the sperm enters the egg, and there's that weird flash of electricity? Is that the moment of your birth?
I don't know, but before I had never even thought of it that way until I listened to Crow 777, because he seems to be all about that. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, that's like, it's really saying, when does a soul, enter the body? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out one of these days.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to, pry too hard on the new book, but do you have the name of it yet?
Yes.
You don't have to tell us if you don't want to say it, but I was just wondering if you have all that kind of stuff down. And it is correct.
I have a name. I have, but I've been thinking about changing some things. For instance, I might want to change my editor this time around, because I've been getting a lot of feedback that there were a couple of sloppy missteps in the book that could have easily been fixed if the editor was more had did a bit better job. So I'll think about that, because when I launched this first book, this was my first book ever. I just went on autopilot and I allowed them to do everything. So this time around, I will be much more prepared, and yeah, I will. Well, I won't release a broken product. So yeah, but it will take some time. I don't know when it will be finished, but I'm on it.
Yeah,
That's so good to hear, man.
Right?
That's so good to hear.
You can't rush good things.
Yeah, and if my editor is listening to this, I don't want to badmouth you or anything. You've been great.
Editing's a tough job, man.
Nothing but adoration for her, but there were a few problems. But yeah.
Editing is a tough job, especially with a story like yours that is new. This is a story like no other. So the way that it was being put forth was really important, and the fact that there were some missteps is quite understandable, even forgivable. Definitely offer any kind of proofreading services I can offer for you, my friend. I love to help out. I've helped a buddy of mine who's an author here in town with his books over the years with some proofreading. And as I've said, the editing part, I wouldn't even attempt. So just trying to point out some mistakes in grammar is a huge enough.
Are you familiar with Sophia Smallstorm?
Yes. Oh, yes. I love her work.
Yeah. I sent her my book last month, and we've become friends all of a sudden. She calls me quite regularly, and because she is very much she is an expert in editing and writing, so she's been giving me a ton of feedback that I should have gotten way earlier. So that's fine.
You've got a great compatriot there. Absolutely. She's someone we've been saying over the years that we need to get on our show, and then just never do. So
yeah, she's great, and she's not afraid of being ruthless at all in her criticism, and I like that, because your friends and your relatives, they have a tendency to sugarcoat things, so you're never quite sure what they really think. But she does think that I have a talent for this. So
You definitely do, friend. You definitely do. And like Zach, I eagerly await this one. I saw my copy of the first one here recently, digging around. I've got books piled all around me here, and I saw that one. I was like, man, should I reread this, or wait till the new one comes out and then reread them back to back, or reread it and then get the new one, or so. But I'm excited, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go on a new show that I told you about. Sophia.
Yes.
Hooked me up with a Christian conspiracy podcast. So their angle will be very Bible thumpery, I guess. So I will have to do my best.
I love that description, Bible thumpery. I love it. I love it.
It's for David, he says those are the easiest people to introduce to the flat Earth because the Bible itself is a flat Earth book. I mean, you look at chapter 1 and it pretty much lays it out how it's built. It's got foundations, and you just start going through it. And
I've never read the Bible, but I did read passages when I wrote the script, because there are so many interesting scriptures, right? And there's one even that sort of hints at a globe, maybe, and that is Isaiah, the circle of the earth. But that's also, everything's open to interpretation. So that's what's so interesting about it.
Is that the one that uses the word chug? I think, meaning circle,
yeah,
as
so
opposed
funny
to
because
sphere. They don't use the word ball or sphere or anything else, just circle.
Yeah, there's only one word that is used, and the only person in the Bible, all 66 tombs of it, is Isaiah, and he says it like a few chapters before. So if anybody in the Bible knows the difference between a sphere and a ball or a circle, it's definitely Isaiah, because he's the only one who uses both of them. So yeah, I mean, the circle of the earth, that's, yeah, how to.
But I have a trick question. Is a ball, can that count as a circle? I don't know.
Well,
I'm geometrically challenged.
The 2D shape could be considered a circle. When you're looking at a ball, I guess. But when you make it 3D, it's no longer just a circle. It's a sphere. There's more, because a cylinder can also be circular.
Okay, Lucas, were you about to say something?
No, I wasn't. I was just listening in, enjoying the conversation. But I would say, well, a sphere is a sphere and a circle is a circle.
Thanks for your contribution.
But Lucas,
that's great.
Thanks. Okay, I'm out.
I'm glad you narrowed it down like that. Hey guys, we're almost at a break. Before we hit the break, though, our apologies go out to Zombie Snoop. They're in chat. Sorry, we do our best, and apparently some things slipped through the crack.
Well, to be fair, I did give
Josh warned you.
I did say this was a possibility, that my disorganization would lead to possibly some dead links, and I didn't realize you were operating that Apple operating system either. I did respond to your email. I've been on it this morning. I was typing at the email when Zach sent me the reminder to let you know that I jacked it up on Friday. So I did send an email with a link. I think that should get you sorted. I do believe.
Awesome. Look at that. In-house, live, customer service or whatever.
Appreciation and service. If nothing else, we'll reach out to the Junicorn himself and make this happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The Junicorn. Did Patrick have David on yet, or is that this week?
I'm not sure. I've not seen. I'll have to look. I don't even remember what.
I haven't seen it either.
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't. And I was clicking around on Patrick's channel after Friday's show for sure. TJ and I got quite lost after show stuff, which if you guys missed Friday's show, it was awesome as hell. Great music, great conversation. Caused me to miss my little flinch at being part of MST 3K history, but I think I fixed it. We'll see what happens. Long story.
I made it.
One of those things.
They actually
I know you did.
took my stuff out. It's paid for and everything.
I'm jealous, dude.
Did you not get
And
in
I mean,
there
I
at all?
said that to him in the conversation. I said, at some point before 10, I've got to go do some stuff, so don't let me miss it. And then we got off on music, and I missed it. So if it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. There's a backdoor route, apparently, CrowdOx, whatever that is. I don't know. I've got an email saying something will happen. It hasn't yet, but something will happen. Who knows? That's music. I'll shut up.
That is music. This is the Ironworks right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Josh Walt, Zach Lucas hanging out with our good buddy Douglas Falk this morning. Stick around. We'll be back right after these quick messages while Chris Gio pays the bills.
Discover the extraordinary powers of intuitive healing with pain transmutation, a method of holistic healing for the human soul, body, mind, and emotions. If you are looking for answers and a deep understanding of how to help yourself and the people around you to live a happier, healthier life, this is the right place for you. Learn how to read your soul's history in the Akashic Records. Remove negative energy attachments from your astral body and start the process of inner and outer pain transmutation. Join Pain Transmutation Community to get started on the path of intuitive healing. Change your energetic state, manifest new and exciting experiences, re-energize your life, and build inspiring connections with others in our community.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If you have hard water, the Lime Scale not only leaves white spots, it clogs pipes and breaks down appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars in energy and wear. Eliminate Lime Scale and other water issues like brown staining and bad odors with HydroCare water products, available from Wave Home Solutions. Wave's affordable water systems don't use salts or chemicals. You'll love the way your water tastes, smells, and looks. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. This is Uncle Walt from the Ironworks. Josh, Corey, and I have chosen to look at life with no fear. No fear of the unknown. No fear of questions about the supposedly well-known. No fear of ridicule for thinking outside the familiar fool's lines. No fear of the boot on the neck of those refusing the party line. No fear of taking on those so convinced of their beliefs they would sooner drink the Kool-Aid than believe they've been fools made. In this world filled with me too, cattle think, can truth's protective layers be peeled back to show the tender, juicy pink? Are we all just grist for the mill? Souls sold against our will, or is that just how it feels? When you're filled to the rim with trivialities so fear-filled and grim, break clear of the fear right here. Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 a.m. on TFR. Josh and I and you will hammer out the impurities of technology-driven groupthink, fold in a dash of logic, and quench it all with a bit of absurdity. The Ironworks. Break clear of the fear.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
And welcome back. Second segment of the Ironworks kicking off right now. Just hanging out, doing what we do, but we're back on the main channel, and that's always nice. And we did double check, make sure that we were live and broadcasting. We are up and running.
You know, Douglas, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just realized who actually typed it. I'm trying to play catch up in our own little chat behind the scenes here. Sorry, Lucas. Yeah, they shouldn't actually be playing our ad during our own show, but hey, you know, it's 4 in the morning. Who's actually paying attention?
Can I tell you why I think they do that? Because of the music you used, I believe. Because I think people were they would play the ad during someone else's show. And their show is getting struck by YouTube because of the music you have in your ad.
Oh, it's my fault. Thanks, Josh. Great.
That's why ours is during our show. I don't think ours is the only one that plays their promo during their own show, just for that reason. But I think that might be why.
Okay, cool. I'll make a new one. I always mentally go, and Zach. And Lucas, well, I'm hearing it anyway. So
I can record a big drum roll for you, Walt, and you can just add that in.
That'll work. We'll do it. Oh man. Well, we are back. It is the Ironworks. We are talking with author Douglas Falk. How is okay, so apparently things didn't get as crazy over there with the mask situation. And I know people here, it's definitely like even here in our state recently, there was the government, whoever it is, the governor lifted the mandate, which, you can't really lift something that you can't enforce. But anyway, whatever. And so now it's up to the stores. Well, wasn't it really up to the store in the first place? I thought. I don't know. I really don't know. But it apparently never got that bad there, Douglas, and never really reached the craziness that you've seen in other places with the mask. Is that what I understood?
Yeah, that's correct. I remember this time in May last year, and it was we were such an outlier in the world. I think it was Sweden and Belarus who basically did not follow the party line with the lockdowns and everything, which curiously enough led to our tourism industry boomed because people came pouring in here,
right?
Just to get a haircut, just to have a drink outside. So that was pretty weird.
So you stayed neutral to the whole situation.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Sorry, I was trying to get to my mute hard as I could. That was just too good, Lucas. Terrible.
Yeah, well, things are fairly normal here, I would say. So maybe you should leave Louisiana and come here.
I'm ready, friend. I'm ready.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, in my small little area, it never was an issue.
Those winters. Get out of here.
You're not lying. I would turn into an icicle.
Yeah.
I would. Oh man.
So
yeah,
can I ask?
Sure. Douglas.
Can I ask you where Adam Meakin and Savage is?
Absolutely. How we'll answer, I have no idea, but you are more than welcome to ask.
I thought the Meakin would inherit the earth.
Apparently that is the case, but just growth changes. People decide they want to do different things, and changes have occurred. Is the best I can really answer because
there's really no good way to answer that question.
There's no real answer.
Okay.
It's complicated. It's never an easy answer. I will say this: I miss the living hell out of both of them.
Yes, indeed. They are missed and loved and always welcome to come back and hang at any moment.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, Douglas. How do you just sit down and write just find the time, sit there, because, I want to write some things down. I've got my own little stuff. I would like to maybe do a PDF. It's not a book or anything, but just finding, getting myself in that position where you actually want to sit there and stare at a screen or write on the paper or something like that. Just, I don't know, I have an aversion to it. So do you have any advice, in other words?
Yeah, I'll answer your question. I'm just going to ask you, have you picked up the book yet?
No, it's going to be there tomorrow. So, yeah, they didn't send out the little card to say come and pick it up. So
because I sent Lucas.
I'll get it.
I sent Lucas the book, and it ended up in a post office or something. But yeah, take your time. Okay, so how did I get the inspiration? Well, it started out as a hobby project, and then it just gradually became very, very rewarding to me to just churn out page after page. And I had this story in my head from point A to B, so it was kind of easy. But I'm finding the sequel it's a lot more difficult when you don't have the roadmap in your head, which I did very much have the first time around. And yeah, it's hard to describe. Okay, how do I find time? Well, I'm unemployed at the moment, but back then I did work as a delivery guy for a grocery brand, and I would write like 15 or 30 minutes every day when I got home from work. And 15 minutes, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you can actually do a lot of work in just 10, 20 minutes.
Well, and also you're spending probably the whole day thinking about exactly how you're going to write it while you're at your job. Yeah, that's how.
And another thing that is very important is to write down every single thought that comes into your head. So I would write it down on my phone as I was working. So when I got home, I almost always had a list of things that I wanted to include.
Yeah, lists definitely help. Yep, that makes sense to me. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and especially when I had such a huge premise with the flat Earth story, so I wanted to cram in as much information as possible. Yeah.
It's interesting to hear you ask that question of Douglas, Lucas, as I ask that very question of you about music. That very thing that you just asked Douglas, it seems so like for you, for some reason, foreign to you, the idea of how he's processing this. Just like when you tell me how you're doing this clean channel in and fixing it with the audio, I understand what you're saying, but I can't get to that point inside my head. That's where I'm stuck. I can write riffs all day. I can come up with lyrics. But getting in front of that computer screen and making it become what you can make it become, which is amazing, I don't get it. And that's kind of what I heard you asking Douglas there. So it's kind of ironic. I like that. At least I don't feel so lost now. I'm not the only lost one. But yeah, we'll get there, man. I write too. I don't write anything like Douglas, but I love to write. That's why I write our little show descriptions. Sometimes I get lost in it and it's really too long, and sometimes I'm really concise and can make really quick sense. So it's definitely something that I understand the difference between inspiration, I guess, and having to force it is part of it, maybe.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, yeah, that helped a lot, actually. If you put it in the perspective of, I'm happy to sit in front of a computer and listen to the same segment of music over and over until I get it right and get the sounds right. But yeah, when I go to do something else like writing or something like that, trying to piece it together it seems like a whole different ball game to me. So any little bits of help, because I have got a huge amount of information that I've actually accumulated and trying to put it into a form that's step by step readable is something of a different story.
So what kind of music do you make, Lucas?
Well, I guess it's sort of heavier rock. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And
AC
sometimes
or
it's
something.
yeah, it's more like I suppose it's more closer to your Tools and Incubus and those sort of 90s rock bands, but I also do some
Yeah,
sort
it's
of
not like
softer stuff as well.
Yeah, he doesn't do the heavy metal where it's none of
It's
that.
atmospheric.
So yeah, when he says like hard rock, it's more like he was saying, 9 Inch Nails, Tool, you know.
Is it anything like my favorite band of all time is Creedence Clearwater Revival? Is it anything like that?
No, nothing like that.
Not at all.
Not at all. Okay.
Not at all. That's just
Sorry,
good
man.
That's good old rock and roll.
Yeah,
that's good old rock and roll
exactly.
This is more like alternative.
That's old dad rock.
What was that?
Like dad rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, dad rock. I thought you said bad rock for a second. I was like, hush your mouth. What are you talking about, man? I love CCR.
Yeah, it's sort of, my music sort of strays away from those blues sort of ideas, I guess, which is more like your Creedence and that, which has a bit of the blues roots into it.
More the pentatonic area, right? For sure.
Yeah.
Drop D and C and B with a extra flatted, and that's more the area that Lucas likes to operate in, and I love it. That's my thing too. I like heavy, but I don't just like heavy for no reason. I don't want to just there has to be a reason for it. It has to have. There's an emotional component that he's putting forth in his music that brings it to a different place. That's all I can say.
Well, I think since we're on the topic of sort of music and writing at the same time, I want the song or the album to have a story to it. So the music has, it starts maybe heavy and then has a sort of chill out section in the center of it, and then a build up. I like these wave dynamics within music, and I like the same thing with writing as well. And especially in movies and cinema and stuff like that, where you have this real climactic bits and then, different elements that sort of creep in. So you're sort of trying to copy that, those dynamics into music as well. And that elicits, I think that elicits music, emotions from that, yeah.
Definitely.
And do you find yourself, like when I'm writing like a video for YouTube, I write it out and I get my ideas out, everything I want to say. But then I go back and I make sure I don't use, one word too many times. I'll go and not just fine tune what I'm saying, but really like proofread later. My first thing is always just write down what's in your head. Don't worry about saying it any certain way. Just get all the ideas on paper and then kind of move them around and then dazzle it up a little bit, make it look pretty. Is that how your brain works when you're writing, Douglas, or do you kind of try to fine tune it as you're going along?
No, I do the fine tuning afterwards, basically. When I write the script, I'm just flying blind, and then I revisit it later on, basically.
Is there a certain, where do you usually go for your inspiration to actually pull in ideas, or is it just an accumulation of sort of, your life in a sense of different things you've looked at, and then the ideas just come to you, or do you actually hunt them out a bit?
I don't know, honestly. That's so hard to describe where ideas come from. I think when I wrote the first book, it just came to me. I didn't sit down and think about it. It just came to me, and I thought, well, let's give it a try. And yeah.
I think it's back to that idea of flow and creativity being part of our ability to manifest in this reality. I think it's beyond just writing music or writing a great book. I think it's us actually as we create this reality around us, subconsciously, unconsciously, from out there, that place there's no time. This has all been kind of going through my mind over the last few days as I've really been struggling with being aware of the fact that I'm apparently, oh, this is going to sound so fucking nuts. Okay, so this whole thing of where you put your focus in life being important, don't pay attention to bad things. Don't listen to negativity. Don't read the horrible books and don't watch the terrible movies and don't listen to the horrible rock music that's got evil stuff in it, because it influences you. It influences your frequency. It influences what comes out of you because that's what you've put into you. So I've spent a whole shitload of time on this mind-wasting game of late that has really gotten me locked into something. This is so crazy. Oh my God. Okay, so Zach, you've been in this little town I live in. You've been here. You know how small it is. You were in this town for at least 3 or 4 days. Okay. Outside of this town is a bigger world. This is a very rural place. And in this rural place are certain things that just aren't here. They just aren't in this town. There's certain cultures, car cultures, motorcycle cultures, things like that just aren't here. But I have been focusing my attention in this game on that aspect of this game. Creating these crazy cars, creating these crazy effects on the paint jobs, stuff you wouldn't do in real life. I created a car that had like half camo and half a regular paint job in the car because it would do that. Didn't know you could do that. Well, 2 days later, one drove around my town. Don't know who they were. Haven't seen it again. And that kind of shit has been happening of late. I'll read some shit in a book. A few days later, that whole incident occurs to somebody I know or to somebody else, in my life. So I think our unconscious creation of this place is so influential. It's amazingly powerful. And that's why they try to distract us with all this crap that spends our energy in useless ways, spends our prana in places that have no merit at all, when we could be creating the world we want around us if we could just get our minds off all this extraneous crap that has got it so spread out. I know I probably fumbled that all kinds of hell.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. What you're saying that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's your consciousness stream, I call it, and it's like, it's basically you don't want to pollute the consciousness stream because it comes out eventually. And so, that's, sometimes I'm aware of it, sometimes not as much, but in general, I am reasonably aware that if I'm, say, thinking negative thoughts or something and they keep looping in your mind for some reason, then you become aware of it and go, well, that doesn't need to happen. And it's just, constantly just paying attention to your actual consciousness stream and what's actually coming in. And, there's been times when I would listen to certain podcasts or something like that, and you would get a certain uneasiness or a twitchiness afterwards, and you're like, what's this? And so when you get that, you don't go back to it because it's not resonating in any sort of way, and it's actually probably bringing you down in a few ways. So it is a very important thing to be aware of what's actually running through your head or what you're inputting. I think it's extremely powerful to actually clear a lot of that stuff out and have it run clean for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Lucas, and I can mention something else that I forgot. When you asked where I got my inspiration, I remember when I wrote the script for this book, I wrote it really, really quickly. It just, I finished it, the first draft, in 3 months. And I spent like 10 hours a day. And I remember now why I so ferociously wrote. The day before I wrote the first page, I had a very, very painful breakup with some very good friends of mine, and harsh words were said, and yeah, I just had a mental breakdown.
Was it over the shape of our Earth?
No. It was personal reasons.
Okay.
We were close friends, but it ended, and I just my brain just, I guess it just searched for some kind of escapism to leave that state of despair and just toxicity and negativity. So that became my healing process out of nowhere, because I had never written anything before that. So in hindsight, that breakup was kind of a blessing in disguise, actually. So
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, it's like a healing mechanism to, I think a lot of artistic endeavors are a type of healing mechanism for lots of people, for sure, and probably offers
involved.
And it offers a healing mechanism for a lot of people once they sort of go into those works of art, so yeah, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and I guess everyone would react in some similar way. I mean, everyone. Well, at least I am very concerned about. I love the friends that I have, and I want to keep it that way. And maybe I'm just rambling here, but it definitely shaped the way I wrote it, because I'm pretty sure that in a normal state of mind, I would not have doubled down so hard on this book, because I just needed to fill my day with something else.
I think that idea of catching the emotion in the moment and being able to put it somewhere, put it down on paper, put it into a recording device, put it into a guitar, put it somewhere. Don't let it dissipate. I think that's because you can be inspired by something and write a few things down and then leave it and come back to it like 2 months later, and it has not got the same resonance. It doesn't have the same energy. It's sat there and basically gotten stale, to me, is how it feels. But if you catch it in that lightning moment of, oh, I still feel this, and I'm trying to get this feeling out of me into some form that somebody else can then resonate with, I think that's key to it. I mean, you hear artists talk about that all the time. I was in a bad breakup, so I wrote this song, and now it's a great hit. Or I put this, on canvas, and now it hangs in all the museums of the world. I cut off my ear, or whatever. So,
you're right about things
emotional,
getting.
Yeah.
And
you're definitely right about things getting stale, because I've tried to redo a song that I've written, and I've had it recorded and everything. I'm like, this should be easy. It's a few chords, drum beat, and I literally cannot get it to sound better at all. And it's an old recording. It doesn't sound that great, but I still can't get it to sound better. So it's lost its use by
right. There's famous hit songs that a certain section of the song is the original demo out of the bedroom the guitar player did because he could never reproduce it again in the studio. The intro to Cowboys from Hell is one. A lot of Van Halen stuff is, his demo instead of what they tried to reproduce in the studio, because it just didn't sound the same. It was the same notes, same way, same rhythm, same emphasis. It's just not the same. That lightning is not caught in the bottle. Speaking of lightning in the bottle, our Iron Maiden back at it. Thank you, Liz, for that super chat. Good to have that again. Missed you guys. Also, Tommy, that flat fellow, telling Zach that they'll be doing some activism Saturday 9 to 3 at the flea market. Tell them where that is, Zach.
It is in Columbia, South Carolina, at the flea market. I forget the exact highway, but if you punch it into Google, you can't miss it. It's huge. It's enormous. They get 2-3 tables, and I think last weekend they had over 20 people out there. It was, I didn't end up going down to Georgia. The party didn't happen, so I didn't. And we had guests. We've been having guests over a lot lately. It is springtime and all that good stuff. So, I mean, it's nice having people around and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, it's just been hectic over here. But yeah, it's so much fun going out there. Lau will be out there cooking most likely. They do the game show. It's just cool being around like-minded people. They have trolls. There's people who come by and troll them like every weekend. So yeah,
Really?
fun. Yeah,
Yeah, of course.
All right. I hear breaky break.
Yeah, we got breaky break. I'm still
I need
busy
some coffee.
playing around with OBS because I jacked it up over the weekend too, apparently. Anyway, this is the Ironworks right here on Truth Frequency Radio. We'll be back for the second half of the show right after this.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Several students dead in a school shooting. I'm Jack Callahan, Fox News. In the city of Kazan in southwest Russia, a Russian news agency says 2 people opened fire at the school. One of them, a 17-year-old boy, has been captured. The other reported killed. At least 8 students and 1 teacher said to be among the 11 victims of that shooting. More violence overnight in the Middle East. Air raid sirens sounding as 200 rockets were fired toward Israel from Gaza. Israel responding with scores of air attacks and more than 100 Hamas targets. A police officer is dead in San Luis Obispo, California. Another wounded in a shootout while trying to serve a search warrant. The gunman was killed by police return fire. No names yet. President Biden says his administration is closely watching gas supplies along the East Coast in the wake of the ransomware attack on the Colonial Pipeline.
The Department of Energy is working directly with Colonial to get the pipelines back online and operating at full capacity as quickly and safely as possible. The FBI also is engaged to assess and address this attack.
The pipeline company says they hope to have much of it up and running by the weekend. AAA warns, though, that residual gas supply problems could linger for weeks. Pending a sign-off from the CDC, children as young as 12 will be able to get the Pfizer coronavirus vaccine starting the day after tomorrow.
The FDA expanding its emergency use authorization of the Pfizer vaccine to include that age group of children 12 and up. It expands the number of Americans eligible to get the shots against COVID-19.
Fox's Jonathan Seri reports clinical testing found the vaccine 100% effective against the virus in the younger age group with about the same side effects as reported by adults. Last week's coronavirus case count was the lowest in 7 weeks. America is listening to Fox News.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
The wicked ones obviously under heavy Masonic influence.
Good morning. I'm here. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up!
What is dark matter? matter.
Okay, we don't know.
That's great. That's why it's called dark.
It's exactly.
Everyone knows all reputable information comes from random people on the internet. Tell me things, internet. The Earth is flat. It's like school in your hand.
Dark matter is something we do not know what it is. We believe the dark matter is there, but we have never detected it. Well, what I'm afraid of course, is that there is no dark matter out there. There was one? There is no dark matter out there. We need to think really hard.
Hi, this is Alan. I like Ironworks because it's where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came.
I love Ironworks with Josh, Walt, and Zach. It's like sitting in your front room having a cosy chat with your best friends.
Hi, it's Diva here, and I just want you to know that Ironworks with Josh, Walt, and Zach, it's definitely my favourite dose of reality. Come join the family and keep it flat.
Why sleep in when you could get your dose of iron in the morning? Listen to the Ironworks on TFR.
This is Enlightened Dawn. Roses are red, violets are blue. Iron Realm Media is the best on the plane. To this show, I will forever be true. You guys are truly the best, and I love you guys. I'm so thankful to have you in my life.
Do you like listening to space letters from Never a Straight Answer? Then tune in to the Ironworks with Zach, Walter, and Josh. Break clear of the fear on the Ironworks and become an Iron Scout.
Time to make the donuts.
All right, Ramblers, let's get rambling.
And welcome back to hour number 2 of the Ironworks, right here on Truth Frequency Radio. Also be heard on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, D-Live. That's one. Back up and running on the main channel, though, so that's always nice. We're hanging out with our good buddy, Mr. Douglas Falk, author of The Voyage. Oh, I think I'm finally starting to wake up. I think I beat my headache. I woke up about 20 minutes early before my alarm went off at 3 a.m. with a headache. One of those, this is going to be a migraine. That you could just feel it's knocking on your door, just creeping in. So I'm trying to decide, do I succumb to the headache? Do I try to wait it out and see? Maybe it's just going to be a bad headache, not like a migraine. Maybe it's not going to be much of anything at all. Screw it, I'll just get up. I got a show to do. So 3 Tylenol, 3 ibuprofen later. I am officially no longer scared of what might have been a migraine. Because a migraine for me leaves me curled up in the fetal position on the bathroom floor, usually sweating profusely as I vomit in the dark by myself. So I try to avoid migraines at all costs because they are...
That don't sound fun.
No, they're vicious. Vicious. That will completely incapacitate me for about 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah, it's rough. I've had headaches all my life too, so yeah, I know how you feel.
Yeah, I've been pretty blessed. I think I've only had maybe 1 or 2 of those in my life, and it never got that bad where I had to throw up. It was just like hammered to the head. Every heartbeat was just like boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that's like once or twice, and it didn't last long. So I'm pretty blessed when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Well, at least when you throw up, it makes you feel a little bit better.
Yeah, mine never lasts that long. When I've had those bad headaches, because I rarely get headaches at all. Maybe once a year I'll get like a slight discomfort in my head that, won't go away. But it's never like that. I've only had that a couple times. So, yeah, I feel for you. That sucks, man.
Dixie lives with that mild discomfort that you had once or twice. That's like her baseline. to the point that last summer when we went on our friend's weekend and she got there within the hour, didn't have any drinks and slipped and fell in the pool and twisted her ankle, sprained her ankle real bad. Well, apparently she smacked her head on one of those steps there in the pool too, going down because the railing was loose. So when she slipped and fell, her head bounced off the step. But it took her about 2.5 weeks, I guess, for her to realize that she had concussion symptoms, because the fact that she had a headache was nothing new. Like she could not even identify the fact that she'd had a concussion, because she just lives with her headaches. Has since she was like a preteen. Just has headaches. That's how she lives. That's how she deals. That's just what her life is. So yeah, it was really unusual for someone to smack their head that hard and not notice and realize that there was probably going to be some lasting effects. But she just didn't even realize she had done it, because she just always has a headache regardless.
That's actually Shell's baseline as well. And pain, manageable pain, and then the squiggles come. That's what she says. The squiggles start, and that's when she knows it's about to go full bore, dark, and yeah, leave me alone, and it's not good. So, but
Man, I would be a right prick if I had a headache all the time.
Yeah, she tried a few things over the years, and then her daughter, my stepdaughter, also has the same issue with the squiggles that she'll see in her vision, and that's when the headaches are starting to come. We've tried many things, many various things. I see Caleb there in chat mentioning a few of them. Let me go back. I've scrolled too far. Lots of water, obviously. Water with added vegetable glycerin. Don't know that one. Get heaps of magnesium. That was what helped Michelle the most, was the magnesium. Now, that being said, magnesium is rough on your internal system, your gastrointestinal system. It can cause some ruckus there. Chelated, I think, is a little better, slightly. I see he's got also, where was it? Cacao with MCT oil, a new one as well for me. So there's things out there that can help. Believe it or not, we bought Haley this thing. It's like a little plastic comb looking deal, but the hands at the end are kind of like splayed finger. I mean, the tines at the end are kind of like splayed fingers of your hand. And it's made in such a way that the plastic like moves around your head. And so it massages those points of pressure and aggravation. It's actually helped me with a few headaches. And whenever I see her with it in her hand, I know she's going through one, and it tends to help. So I'll try to find a better description and share it with you guys.
I used to be able to get rid of, like when I was doing a bit of kinesiology and that, I could get rid of people's headaches real quick, just through a few different points in the legs, using the sort of acupuncture points. So just those pressure points, and you just work around them, and boom, gone straight away.
Yeah,
and I do those as well that help a lot.
My secret go-to spot for that with both of them is that webbing between the thumb and the forefinger. And you just kind of feel around until they let go. Ow. And what you're wanting to do is find the spot that you're squeezing in there that reflects the pain in the head. When you hit the point inside that webbing and the headache flares, work on that knot, work on that spot, work on it, knead it and put energy in it and take the bad energy out of it. And eventually I've gotten rid of a few headaches for her like that. I remember telling Baldini about that during the show live one night, and he was like, "Oh, I feel like I'm going to puke." I'm like, "That's the spot." And he kept squeezing it, and his migraine went away during the live show. So try it out.
Yeah, I remember that. That was good.
Have you guys tried something? Sophia Smallstorm, she called me yesterday, and she persuaded me to try something called kombucha. It's some kind of tea or something.
Yeah, it's a
I have some in my fridge.
Okay, what's that about? Convince me to go out and buy it.
It's an amazing thing, my friend. It truly is. It's basically
probiotics.
Yeah. Go,
Sorry,
Zach.
Walt.
You know it. Go.
No, you go. No, go.
Go. The way I found out about it, believe it or not, was my family. My mom, my dad and my stepmom had a SCOBY that they were sharing with friends. A SCOBY is like this little jelly type thing. It's basically a big wad of probiotic stuff, long chain triglycerides, all kind of stuff, and it will grow in a liquid medium that has a lot of nice sugar in it. Tea, sweetened tea is how they used to grow it. And it creates these things in it that are good for your internal systems, mostly your GI tract. But there are reports, I'm not a doctor, I don't play one on TFR, but there are reports, the guy who created a certain company of the kombucha claims it helped his mother's cancer. Another group of people say it can do just amazing things for your health, your spirit, your energy, the whole 9 yards. I drink it. I love it. There's flavored ones out there now. There's companies that do it really well. There's other companies that don't do it so well. You just got to find the one you like the taste of and go with it. Be careful. Don't shake the bottle up too much. I've literally watched one explode the top off and shoot across the store, the health food store, because somebody else didn't know you weren't supposed to shake it so hard. So it's very volatile. It's very carbonated because of its fermentation process that it goes through. But yeah, kombucha is pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So the SCOBY that you're talking about, for people that don't know, is an acronym that stands for symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. So it's sort of this layer, or they call it the mother, that actually builds up on top of the fermentation. It's sort of like this squidgy, it's just as bacteria and yeast, and you're culturing the same sort of bacterias and things that are similar to, say, in yogurts and things like that, but just using different methods to help increase the amount of bacterias in your basically in your small intestine and your colon. So, and that's what eats your food for you. Basically, the bacteria is what digests your food. So, yeah, they can be good, but you need to be putting the good food in with it too, so they actually have something to mung on.
Right. It's not like a replacement or a cure-all. It's definitely something to add to a healthy diet. Definitely. I'm reading in chat about tuning forks and kind of digging that idea too, and just trying to play catch up with what Caleb and Allison are talking about there in chat. So apparently using a tuning fork to find a spot around the body that is giving you an issue and leave it there till the sound smooths out. Nice. Never tried that one.
So Douglas,
sorry, Lucas, real quick. It's a 432 hertz thing, and it just looks like a tuning fork, but it has a weight on the end of it with a flat spot on the weight, and it's connected to a long metal cylinder, and you just hit that against your hand, and it starts vibrating that because of that weight at 432, and then you just take the other end of it and you press it to your body, and it takes those frequencies and just flows them right into your body. I've used one. Yeah, it actually helped a little bit. I was having some chest pains, and it was relieving at least in my brain it was,
That'll do.
Yeah, you can do the same thing with singing bowls as well. You can sit them on your and actually get them singing away, and they'll make you feel really good. But I was going to ask Douglas, so what was your flat Earth journey like? I'm sorry for you've spoken about this before on the show, but were you sort of the one that resisted it for a long time, and then sort of went that way, or did it just click for you? And was it a quick sort of thing?
I was intrigued from the get-go. I was never one of those who some people got upset by it, but I was like you guys have read my book, everyone apart from Lucas, but I really it sparked my imagination, and I love in literature I love the fantasy genre, and that just clicked for me, and I was just so intrigued. And then I Yeah, I just kept watching video. This was back when YouTube was, actively promoting it with the sort of like autoplay thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I was
Oh,
around for that.
Yeah, and in the early days, they were on like, I mean, right now YouTube has there's pressure on them, right, to restrict all kinds of non-official narrative stuff. But back then, they were like, okay, this is a trending thing, so let's recommend the hell out of this. So, and I remember I didn't even search for this when I watched the first video. It just played for
none of us did.
completely randomly. Maybe I was even watching something completely different, like a football video or something. So they were definitely the people at YouTube. They were like, okay, this is interesting. So.
Yeah, so that's that's interesting. I was pretty much similar, so it wasn't. It's more of a inquisitiveness got us, into the flat Earth rather than sort of this reluctant pulling into it. I've told the story many times that I just sat in the car once and sort of imagined it as flat Earth and sent my mind that way, and I was like, boom, that was it. It was simple because I'd done a lot of work beforehand, how they lie about the monetary system and all that. So there was a lot of work in those other fields that came, obviously the lying part wasn't the hard bit to get over in a sense. But that's interesting. I mean, there's definitely with the flat Earth and the concepts around it and things, there's definitely seems like there's more places to explore and information to look at, and that would definitely give you a lot more resources to actually write about and think about and be creative with.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain. If I had envisioned this 5 years from now, 5 years back, I would have never guessed that I would have released a flat Earth book or went to Dallas at a big conference with my dad. And that was like conspiracy heaven, because not only the conference, but the infamous Dealey Plaza. I never thought I would visit that place, but yeah, that was so cool to cross off the bucket list.
Yeah, wasn't I? No, I wasn't there when you were there. We went later, I believe.
Yeah, you guys went later. My dad and I, we were there early in the morning when an Arctic not a snowstorm, but a super. Do you remember how cold it was the first days?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was freezing, and the entire city was dead. The only people out on the streets were the homeless people. So my dad and I, it was like a ghost town, and we just went to Dealey Plaza and checked it all out, the grass and all and everything. So that was pretty surreal.
Yeah, that's what I wrote my high school senior thesis paper on, was that exact spot. So yeah, it was really interesting going and visiting and seeing exactly where that happened. It's amazing because it wasn't like the center of the town. Even now, like as soon as the way they were driving, there's a overpass straight ahead, and as soon as you go underneath that overpass, it's like there's like country. It's not all buildings and stuff, right? It was kind of weird how they haven't really built up that area or changed it at all. It looks almost like the day that it happened.
Yeah, it's nothing special about that place, really, but it is a historical landmark. So
maybe that's why they haven't changed the buildings and all that kind of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, and you met my dad, Zach. So, and you and him, I think you got along fairly well. And he enjoyed the hell out of the entire thing. But his absolute highlight was going to the South Fork Ranch, because are you familiar with Dallas, the TV
That's
show?
awesome. South Fork, yes, sir.
Yeah, that was in my dad's time. That show was huge, and in Sweden, there's an obsession with this show. We have restaurants all over Stockholm that are called like Cliff Barnes, Sue Ellen. So yeah, and so that was pretty fun actually. That my dad got to cross off something from his bucket list.
Yeah, I enjoyed your dad's company immensely. He was a lot of fun to talk to. I think especially because he was so adamant about NASA. I heard
that hotel bar.
You telling me about his chat with David and all these people trying to push it on him and this and that. Where I really didn't. We were just chatting, you know?
Yeah. There were so many conversations, especially down at the hotel bar, but also at the breakfast table. I remember 7 a.m. when Gary John Heather walked up to my dad, and they wanted him to do some kind of a visual experiment where they would walk in a circle or something. Do you remember that?
Vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. And my dad just groaned, and he was like, "Oh, I just woke up, and I have to do this thing."
Yeah, that was a fun time. That was a really good time.
Yeah, it really was.
So, do you and your dad ever plan on coming back to the States?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but only if things go back to normal. I wouldn't dream of going there right now. I
hear. There are places that are getting back to normal here. A lot of states are starting to open up, and it's full capacity. If you want to wear a mask, go ahead. If you don't. And then there are other places, especially like bigger metropolis areas, where they have their city ordinances and this and that. And so I try to stay away from those places. But as far as, the suburbs and the rural areas, things are starting to get back to normal, at least down here in the South.
Yeah, we went on a road trip to Oklahoma one day, and I can imagine that place opening up because it was starkly different from Dallas.
I bet Oklahoma, most places never shut down. Like in the middle of it, when I was crossing the country to go from Denver over to South Carolina, all the way through Kansas, certain parts of Illinois, because I had stopped up and visited my mom up in Indiana, it was like it never even happened. The people behind the counters weren't wearing masks. There were no signs anywhere saying, social distance or anything like that. No tape on the floors. People were it was like they'd never even heard it almost. So yeah, it really depends on where you go. And it seems the more people around, the more ramped up it is. The more fear is around those areas.
Oh, absolutely.
We're fastly approaching our last break, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to really quickly, say thank you to Tommy, that flat fellow, for the super chat. Tommy would also like to say, I'd like to take this opportunity to tell Douglas that I loved his book. Thanks for writing it. After I read it, I passed it on, and that person read it and passed it on too. It's definitely the gift that keeps on giving. Definitely, if you haven't read The Voyage, our guest, Douglas Falk, please get out there. We'll drop a link in the chat. We'll have one in the show description as well, so you can get you a copy.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
And it's a great book to
amazing book.
Wake up a friend. I think it's chapter 5, especially. it lays out so many of the flat Earth, proofs just in this book alone. And when they get them like that, they're like, oh, well, this is in a fiction book, but it plants those seeds, and it tells them, hey, I'm going to go look that up and see if this is real. That can't be. And yeah, it's a great, tool to wake somebody up without, telling them that the Earth is flat. You're like, here, this is a cool book. Just read this one. It's a really neat story. Blew my mind.
Yeah, what I'm the most pleased about, actually, on the whole, is that both people in the conspiracy community and, average Joes seem to enjoy this. And that was always my hope, because it's a kind of a lame thing if only one camp enjoys it. It means that you've been too preachy, but
you're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, but the probably the most proudest day was when the biggest reviewer on the Goodreads, she's called Miranda Reads, and she has 140,000 followers there. She reviewed my book and she gave it a 4 out of 5, so that was huge for me.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite feeds our body with the right nutrients to keep us healthy. Just listen to what Arthur has to say.
I was just calling to tell you what a great product you have. I had used this about 10 years ago after I had congestive heart failure. And it fixed me up and got me going for the last 10 years. Lately, I've been having heart trouble again. So I placed another order because this was the only thing that ever worked. And I just wanted to let you know that you have a great product.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Okay, nurse, let's get this man to the ER stat.
Right away, doctor.
We see this every day. Heart attack or angina pain due to blocked and clogged arteries. Chelation can remove obstructions or blockages from arteries and help avoid painful and expensive surgery. Now there's Angioprim. It's a liquid oral chelation product that you take with juice. You start to feel the results fast. Angioprim increases blood flow all over the body, and that means more energy and strength to take on the day with less aches and pains. 60 years of research has gone into chelation, and Angioprim is the result. A safe and easy way to unblock your veins and arteries from buildup that slow circulation.
Paging Dr. Jones. Please report to the emergency room right away.
Log on now for a special radio offer from Angioprim. That's angioprim.com/radio. ANGIOPRIM. Angioprim.com/radio or call 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221.
Hey everyone, it's Mark Sargent from Strange World, broadcasting live every Tuesday evening, 10 to 12 Eastern, 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on True Frequency Radio. Strange World covers a wide range of topics, from enclosed world theory to lunar waves to the end of the world in film. It's basically doomsday with a silver lining. With the audience as my co-host, we take an optimistic approach to all things conspiracy and promote confidence, hope, and humor whenever possible. If there's a topic you want us to cover or a guest you would like to see interviewed, please email me at msargent23@comcast.net. So please join me and tell your friends about True Frequency Radio, the leader in real radio programming, bringing you quality, cutting-edge broadcasts from around the world.
No hate, no hype, no fear. We are TFR. Frequency Radio.
our balls are showing. Wake up, it's a brand new day.
And welcome back for the fourth and final segment of the Ironworks right here on Truth Frequency Radio, TFRlive.com. Hanging out with our good buddy Douglas Falk this morning, author of The Voyage. And a big shout out to everybody there in chat. Allison, I will absolutely let you help me. Not quite sure in what regard, but I won't not let you help me. If that counts for anything.
So before we get into a whatever we're going to talk about, this has been a good chat. I just wanted to mention one little piece of space lettuce, if I may.
I was going to wait and see if you were going to wait for your permission.
No, I'm just going to do it.
I was just going to say, yeah, sure.
Go ahead and ready the salad bowl, Zach.
All right. Well, so the three-body problem. If you don't know what that is, the whole gravitational theory and the models that they use, it works great when you're talking about the sun and the earth, or the moon and the earth, or an asteroid and the earth, something like that. You know, it works perfect. They can calculate it, tell it where it's going to go, this and that. Gravity works great. But you throw just one more body into the equation, and it throws the computer off, and they cannot figure out where anything's going to happen. It goes into, just spirals out of control, and they cannot get it to work. What they see in the sky they can't mathematically show that on paper with their whole gravity theory. But some scientists have said, we've gotten pretty much, they say, we can't do it in the end. We've taken it as far as it can go, this and that. It's about 70% accurate when using three bodies. Now you throw more in and it drops dramatically. But it all has to do with some mathematical algorithm and some null point in space and blah, 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 blah. But anyway, pretty much the moral of the story is they cannot do it. They said there have been people working on this for decades. And they said, this is the best we can do. Just three bodies, about 70%. Not going to get any better ever, according to them. So when people come up and say, oh, yeah, they figured out the three-body problem. David Weiss just did an interview last week, and the guy, oh, that's bullcrap. They tell us where every moon around Saturn is going, and there's 50 of them. It's like, no, they watched a movie, and then they're showing you the movie and telling you what's going to happen at the end. They're not predicting anything. They're just watching the movie again. So, yeah, the whole three-body problem thing, still an impossibility. They're putting articles out saying they're getting closer, but if you actually read it, they say, yeah, it's never going to happen. That's my 2 cents.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is like a clock, and I've been looking into how the old calendar systems work, how they actually map things, and I'm sort of I've been at it about 100 different times, and I keep coming up short. But in general, there seems to be this older sort of system of understanding how things work in cycles, and it was beautiful and harmonic in a sense, and things had whole numbers. And then when you look at the system that they give us today with the the hours and, the moon travels this far and at 0.3 and all this sort of stuff. There's nothing that's harmonious about it. It's, and we create, and this is my sort of thinking about it, we create this, our measurement systems. And it seems like the older way of doing things, they had a measurement system that was very, that correlated with the actions of the sun and the moon. And there's something, when I keep looking at this, I'm thinking there's just something really off about what they give us with all these, how it works and the numbers they give us. There's something it stinks to high heaven, and I haven't found out exactly what they've done or where it is, but I'm on the hunt for it, that's for sure.
I think it's interesting how them breaking everything down into tens kind of makes 666 pop up a lot. Anything that's 2/3 is always 666.
Well, 666 is actually a really interesting number, because if you just times them together, you're getting your 216, and your 216 relates to actually a lot of mapping as well. So this is basically 360 times 60, and so it's a way of actually creating the increments you need for viewing the planets. So it does creep up a lot because of that 216, and you have the other thing it seems to correlate with is the equatorial distance, which is 21,600 nautical miles. So this is what I was sort of getting at, where there's actually a system that's based on, not only the layout of the plane and where the equatorial line is, but also how to calculate from that equatorial line. And it, can give you very precise measurements, and they seem to have whole number increments. And so you can get these divisions quite really easily. And like I said, whole numbers, like the sections of the way the moon moves in relation to the stars would be, 27 segments around a circle. But there's something very funny about what they've done time-wise. I think they've thrown it off a little bit time-wise, so nothing actually adds up into those whole number harmonic frequency, numbers. If I'm sort of explaining that right.
Yeah, absolutely. They've garbled it, really. And
yeah, they've garbled it, and then they've
think is not, it doesn't coincide with nature.
And they make us sort of have these connotations to certain numbers that really aren't there. They're, like your 33s and your 666 and all those different numbers that they use. Your double fours, your 22s, your 1111. All these numbers have certain principles to them, and they very powerful to this sort of harmonic system that I'm trying to look at. And they have these crazy connotations associated with them that they're like taking the science and just butchering it, and then everyone sort of has this like it's Freemasons or it's whatever it is, these connotations with it. They're the bad guys, but these numbers are actually quite important to our world and how we actually start to get back into the cycle of things, I think.
Yeah, in chat they're talking about the one more real quick. Did you hear about this at all, Douglas? Scientists have been going over video from Mars, time-lapse photos and whatnot. And these, they're scientists. They don't work for NASA, but they're scientists, are saying that they have found mushrooms growing and moving and, going. And I have pictures of these exact same mushrooms that they're talking about, even broken down and look exactly like the ones that these pictures from supposed Mars took place. But they're these little circular balls, and they have like little tiny pyramids all over them. It kind of looks like a golf ball, but with spikes on it.
No, never heard of that.
Okay, so when I was a kid in, like, I believe, let me think, it would have been 4th or 5th grade. Yep. I was an avid reader. I spent all my time in the library everywhere I was. School, home, I was in the library. So I found a series of, and I was a huge science fiction reader. I found a series of books. I'll look it up in a second, but you just broke my brain. There was a series of books about these people who were mushroom people. They had evolved from mushrooms, like we are told we evolved from monkeys. So they evolved from mushrooms. They were mushroom people. I think they were from fucking Mars. Oh my God. I'm going to have to look it up. But it was one of my favorite book series. They definitely were from somewhere else. It was a whole other thing. But if I go find that they were from Mars, y'all, this is just going to be too much.
Yeah, Kellum says they're not mushrooms, they're marshrooms.
But
throwing a little Mars in there. So what you got, Walt?
I'm looking. Y'all talk. It's going to be a second because I don't even have an author or.
Man, I was waiting to hear about the mushroom people.
I'm looking it up. It's not coming up, so it's a 70. I'm old.
We'll all
like
just
from the 70s.
Be quiet.
Y'all all just wait for me. It's all just
sit. Yeah, we'll just sit in silence and cool. Wait for you to just look them up. Okay.
Yeah, Zombie was saying he was at a pool party, and that's all they were talking about. Everybody there, and his wife just kept looking at him, like, just keep your mouth shut. No need to start breaking all their brains. And yeah, but that is great. It's good to see that there's, I'm glad that that's out there, because this isn't Joe Schmo found this. This is actual, biologists and whatnot saying, oh my God, you found life on Mars, and, there is life there, and sustainability and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So I'm glad.
If only those mushrooms could, start taking in, release some oxygen and take in the atmosphere and chuck a dome over it with a bunch of mushies, and you're laughing.
Well, yeah, you got to love their oxygen scrubber. They say, oh, it makes oxygen. Not enough for not even one human being to live, but it makes oxygen. But it also makes carbon monoxide. So is that really the way you want to go? You start terraforming a planet, let's terraform it with carbon monoxide? Is that? I'm pretty sure that's deadly to most things. Oh, yeah, I just don't. There's no logic. Okay, here we go.
All right, here we go. Here's the conflation that occurred. So, being the avid reader that I am, apparently, I read a thing from like the 50s called Mushroom Men from Mars. That's the name of the book by Lee Stanton. It's the old classic Buck Rogers cover. I'll use it in the show pick. But that's not the story that I'm looking for. The story I'm actually looking for is called The Wonderful Flight to the Mushroom Planet by Eleanor Cameron. It's the exact, when I saw the cover, I was back in that library at 4th and 5th grade. So yeah, this is it for sure. I'll send you guys the link. Amazing books. If you want to like break your kids' brains, definitely these are mushroom people. You don't think that there were some mushrooms involved in the writing of this fucking book? Hang on. I'll send you the link.
Is that where Sonic the Hedgehog idea came from?
Who knows at this point?
He talked about some mushroom planet, something like that.
Yeah. I was so obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog when I was younger. And are they
Do you remember the code? Do you remember
the cheat code? It's called the Mushroom Zone, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, this is nuts. Okay, so the story when two boys build their own spaceship, because that's what you do when you're a kid, out of wood, tin scraps, that kind of stuff, they meet this mysterious Mr. Tycho Bass. I remember as soon as I saw that name. He's a scientist and inventor. Using his marvelous stroboscopic polarizing filter, he shows the boys a previously undetected satellite of the Earth, which he calls the Citium X.
Damn.
He fits out their ship and sends them off to go to the mushroom planet and find out what the fuck it is. And it's been revealed by a polarizing filter. You cannot write this shit.
What?
Oh my god!
You just broke my brain.
My brain is not even in my head at this point, dude. What the hell? Oh my
So this
god!
is like before NASA.
This was when was this one written? 1954 was when this one was written.
Wow.
Oh my. Yep, stroboscopic polarizing filter is how he revealed this undetected satellite of Earth.
I'm looking at
I'll send you the link right now, sir. I'll send you the link.
looking up stroboscopic.
Oh, this is too much. Oh,
yeah, Cammy just got a little microscope.
Nice.
It does like 200 zoom. It's digital, so we're going to be able to make videos with it and show you guys exactly what we're seeing without having to like put a camera up to the eyepiece.
Is it stroboscopic though?
I'm
not watching otherwise.
Yeah, no, I was just screw that. It ain't stroboscopic. No, when I see it, it says a lot of polarizing filters come up, but none of them say stroboscopic. Maybe I just need to look up. I'm probably not spelling it right either. Stroboscopic. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure out what stroboscopic is. Visual phenomena caused by aliasing that occurs when continuous rotational or other cyclic motion is represented by a series of short or instantaneous samples at sampling rate close to the period of the motion. So it's kind of like the wagon wheel, looking like it's going backward, maybe?
I
don't
think,
know.
or maybe the old, I forget what they were called. It's like you look through the little slits as it spun in a circle and it looked like the horse was galloping or whatever it was. It was like the early precursor to the moving pictures. It'll come to me, maybe.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they're saying it's like the strobe light when you move around with the strobe light. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So you don't get a nice fluid flow. You see like picture, and it's broken up.
Right.
Yeah, like when you're on the dance floor cutting a rug
with the strobe, right.
Jittery.
Dawn in chat brought it all full circle because she remembered. She remembered the song with the lyrics. The kombucha mushroom people sitting around all day. Look, I love System of a Down, Dawn. You rock. So we've got the mushrooms, we've got the kombucha. What more do we need? I mean, man.
Some tuning forks.
I found it. I dropped the song for you in chat. Hang on.
Sounds like it'd be a good book, Douglas.
I'm thinking between
stroboscopics and
we get outside the,
got a heap
the
of
realm,
topics here.
There's the mushroom people.
Yeah, it
Sitting around
sounds
all
like
day.
the super weapon of a villain or something.
Are you writing notes?
Yeah, naturally.
Stroboscopic. So he used a stroboscopic polarizing lens. So a strobe light and a polarizing lens mixed. I'm going to ponder upon that.
Hello. Right?
Figure out a way to tune the strobe as well.
With tuning forks. Holy shit. We're writing it all right here.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something there.
There might be something there. What if you did put a tuning fork to a polarized filter and got it to vibrate and shake at that certain vibration?
So you would have polarization and a frequency shift. Oh, wow.
Wow, your filter sort of is like tuning light to a certain frequency in a
But then
different way,
frequently
isn't it?
change that.
Right.
I mean, that's like squaring the circle. That's like the tetrahedron, or not tetrahedron, the tetra, whatever it is.
Collapsing the sine wave.
It's the cubed cube. You know what I mean? Right. That's breaking reality here. We're creating new platonic solids.
It's 0 point energy. Right?
What? Right. Right.
And Rick and Morty, he collapsed the quantum tesseract or something like that. I'm ready for Rick and Morty. The new episode should be coming out here, I think, next month. I'm excited. Something about those shows, it's just my kind of humor.
You got me into it, sir, because I definitely tried on my own and couldn't get past the voice acting. And then you came and said, no, you got to watch it. So I was like, Zach knows some shit. Let me watch this. Thank you, friend. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for sucking me into that crazy shit. No, I do. I love it. It's crazy.
Have you ever watched Rick and Morty, Douglas?
No, but I've heard of it. It's kind of a edgy science show, right? With and it's like, I was about to say it's like Family Guy, but that's probably wrong.
But not really.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot
of pathos in it that is very mature and very way past anything McFarlane could have ever thought of in his life.
It's the same tone, or maybe dialogue.
But it's definitely an edgier thing. But what got me was the pathos. Like I said, I didn't expect it to be as, I don't know. It's hard to explain. There's a lot more going on than just crazy cartoon stuff in the family stuff.
Yeah,
but lots of shit. It's crazy.
If you want to like almost think of what a mad scientist would be, somebody who's just a genius beyond all genius, but also hates himself for that and hates everything. It's weird. Rick is like everything I want to be and don't want to be all at the same time.
And everything you don't want. Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
He's a raging alcoholic who is an atheist until he gets caught in something, and then he starts praying. And then when he gets out of it, he'll be like, yeah, fuck you, It's, I don't know. But he's, it's just, to me, it's funny. Just his whole mindset and his ideology, the way he looks at the world. It's kind of how you would think a mad scientist would look at the world. I think they did a really good job capturing that essence of just scientist who is way smarter than everybody else and pretends like he doesn't care about life until the shit hits the fan. And then he starts praying. Kind of like so many of the scientists that we actually have, Darwin called a priest to his deathbed for some reason.
So we got only a minute left. Douglas, thank you for being here so much. Everybody, please go get The Voyage and go get your account set up over there on Goodreads so you can give it a review, which I plan on doing. I read that review you shared, my friend. Great stuff. Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the highlights so far. Because she is no small business.
I saw she was pretty. Yeah, I kind of checked her out too. Yeah.
And if you have read
So-
Douglas's book, make sure you head over to Goodreads or over to Amazon and go ahead, give it a review. Give it one of them 5-star clicks and let everybody know what a great author Douglas is. And see if we can't build a little bit of momentum for the voyage.
Yeah, thank you
It's
so
been,
much for having me on again.
Anytime.
Thank you for being around so much, my friend. I know you went through a lot last year, and yet you were there often in chat in spite of it. So thank you, and sending you lots of love, my buddy. Love you.
Yeah, the same.
All right, guys. Thank you so
been
much.
Nice talking to you, Douglas.
Yeah, nice talking to you, Lucas, and I hope you will enjoy the book.
No doubt.
Love y'all. Thanks, Douglas.
Love you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Just remember, be good, be well. We love you guys. We will see you right back here, back on the main channel on Friday morning.